Hi there, and thank you for taking time out with Twin Possible. Today, I just wanted to talk a little bit, and hopefully I won't keep rambling, I gotta eat anyway, about Accutane. People wanted to know, and I've done a video on Accutane in pregnancy, and obvious effects that if you wait, what they say, what Roche and the websites all say, the 1 month period, if you wait that long to get pregnant, you'll be safe, is true. I believe, but I had a comfortable buffer of the 3 month, and at 4 months I got pregnant with the twins because we took a trying to conceive break, and then 3 months later I had started up again, and at 4 months, second cycle of our back-to-back IUIs, we had our baby girls. So, conceived. Anyway, we didn't give birth that fast. What am I saying? We? I'm doing everything. Okay, anyway, but as far as the Accutane is concerned, there's a lot of people who applaud me for talking about this stuff because there's really very little out there talking about it, and there's always scare stories out there. That's why I created my entire website, and to show people that everything doesn't have to be so scary, that good, just people forget about it and they move on with their lives, but bad, people harp on forever and they share it all over the world, and all you're reading is their horror stories or lies, because people have nothing better to do sometimes, and they lie and just share fictitious information and freak people out. And when I was looking up Accutane, that's what happened to me as far as with pregnancy and stuff. There was very little real information out there for me to look at. But people ask me now something totally different, not Accutane in pregnancy, but was I happy with the results of Accutane and the reasons why I took it to begin with? Was I happy with that in combination? Absolutely freaking not. And I am a skeptic, I am a paranoid person, I am anxious, I am a worrier, and I am very skeptical, and I like to investigate everything. So when my dermatologist told me, and I didn't have any cystic acne, which I can feel for people having had skin issues, I understand the brink, the plateau that takes you to where you will try anything, because otherwise you feel like if you don't, there's nothing else there for you, and if it helps, then life is worth living. You might feel like it's not worth living sometimes when you feel bad about the way you look. And I understand that, having had body dysmorphic disorder, even when things were minimal and I blew them up in my head, I felt like everyone was staring at me, making fun of me, laughing at me, bullying me, picking on me, and that was true when I was younger, so that transformed into my adulthood, and it made me think of myself as some kind of freak, so everything just became bigger than life. But in this case, my skin just was, and is, excessively oily. It didn't respond to any of the Retin-A treatments, the strongest dose. I have it, I use it every night still. It doesn't respond to the Lubricated treatments at a doctor's office, and that's like $650 a pop where I go, and I don't have it anymore. And after a few, my doctor said, listen, you're wasting your money. And for him to say that, he's a great guy. He's not trying to rip me off. He's saying this is not working. Excessively oily to where my non-existent pores turn into craters, and I do have very large pores, and it just became such an obsession to me that I didn't want anybody to see me in public. I got very anxious, very nervous, never happy with myself. So my quality of life was not great, and putting on my makeup, I would turn into a puddle after a very, very short time and be miserable, or run home and stop what I was doing for the day. And that's not what I wanted, because I knew it was all related to this problem. So normally Accutane is reserved for this horrible acne, which I totally understand, but in my case, I was referred to for a low dose of it, and by my very smart, very wonderful dermatologist. I didn't know that anything else could happen to me aside from the things that I read. That everything has horrible side effects if you read them. You would never take them, and I do read them. And my father worked for the FDA for over 35 years. I tried to not take it, but the more I didn't do something, the more depressed I was getting internally. I was trying to give my kids the best life I could, but inside I was a mess. On my face I was a mess, and I felt obsessed with it. It was a horrible feeling, and I just needed some kind of relief. So really it came down to no other way, and side effects are side effects, and like I wasn't, I decided to take a break. I wasn't trying to get pregnant right then and there, and I was also like, consulting with other doctors, and I spoke to 4 dermatologists in whole, who all told me to take it. So it's not like I just went to the one fabulous one that I'm sorry that I doubted you, but that's my thing. I have to get another opinion. I was so scared of it that I checked 2, 3, 4, and talked to 2 pharmacists to boot, and everybody gave me the go-ahead. And I honestly will tell you, I am not happy with it. It did not dry out my skin at all. It dried out my lips for like 2 years. I have chronic dry eye syndrome. I'm sure at this point, 6 years later or so, will never be normal again, never have the kind of tears that I had. I had totally normal eyes. I remember writing a diary about my Accutane, and I was taking actually half the dose that I was prescribed, and sometimes I would skip days, so, because I was weary about it. But nonetheless, still, I can't imagine what would have happened if I didn't do that. I noticed the drying up of the eyes only days in, but it's supposed to all be temporary. If I knew for 1 second that that could be permanent, I would have stopped right off the bat. But then again, hindsight is 20/20, and nobody told me that, and everything you read says that that is temporary. But you will look and find now that dry eyes, there are some, like me, unfortunates, that get permanent dry eye. It just destroyed my oil glands, wrecked it, so that my eyes don't produce the oils that they need to lubricate and keep the tears going, keep the film on my eyes. So I've suffered a lot of vision loss in the last years. I've suffered my sleep. I've woken up every day of my life in pain, and in prying my eyes open with crust and putting drops in and taking huge doses of omegas and eye medications like Accutane. I've taken Restasis. I've had punctural plugs put in my eyes, not just in both, but I begged the guy, please give me 4. I have Lasocret inserts that you put into your under eyelid that cost, without insurance, $900. I was paying up to $200 at a time, and desperation makes you crazy. I mean, your eyes are like, you don't know how much they mean to you until something like this happens, because I used to wear contacts, like blue contacts, green contacts, and I had these beautiful bright white eyes, and suddenly I had these horrible dry eyes that hurt, that were red all the time, that I have veins in, that can never be removed, because I've asked. They can't be removed. They'll never look as beautiful as they did, and I can't wear contacts. So I'm in a crappy situation completely, and where I'll never wake up and just open my eyes again and feel great. I'm looking into any kind of surgeries that I could get. I would do it in a heartbeat. I'd have eyeball transplants. I get so frustrated, so upset. So, I mean, I can't watch TV at night. So lights bother me. It's a horrible way to live. So I'm honestly, to be truthful, I have gone from a normal life to a totally different life, and somebody who likes to write and be on the computer and to write poetry and be a blogger. It's a huge, and edit videos, it's huge, because that's what I have to look at. So my eyes have a low tolerance, and I can't sit there at night and watch movies with my husband like I used to. And I can't change my eye color and correct my vision at the same time, because I had a little bit of a problem with my eye vision. So I corrected that while getting some color, and sometimes I just had my clear lenses. I'll never use them again because that's drying. And it was never the cause of that. And it took about 18 freaking doctors to finally tell me, after feeling things in my eye that honestly were never there, it was just dry patches, but you would swear something was in your eye, to finally admit that yes, the Accutane was the cause, because I guess they're all afraid of this company and this I don't know. They have so many lawsuits for other reasons, a lot about birth defects, but other things from their side effects that are supposedly rare. This might seem rare, but I've suffered it, and it's caused me to where I get panic attacks sometimes thinking about it, thinking about the lack of options, that it's a hopeless situation, it seems, that I've exhausted all possibilities to help myself, that this may be for, or may get worse, and then what do I do as I get older when dry eyes typically occur? How am I going to even blink? Sometimes I blink and my eyelids just get stuck. It's horrible. I would never advise anybody to take Accutane. I think it's the devil's poison, but at the same time, I didn't throw it away right at first because that's how torn I was between my skin and my eyes. But then again, I probably did think at that time my eyes were going to get better eventually. But all these years later, it's only gotten worse, if anything. It's not getting better. And I've tried so many things, exhausted so many doctors, and cried myself to sleep without a lot of tears so many times that I am just telling you that I would never pop one of those pills again because I have thrown those things out. But I understand the reasons why people would keep them around and keep taking the drug no matter what I say or what other people say, because I understand that your looks, unfortunately in this day and age, are livelihood in the way that that's what people judge you on before they know your heart. So it's not vanity, it's just trying to have a self-esteem and some normalcy and just feel normal in life. So I can understand, and having seen cystic acne, why people would definitely take it. I have plenty of flaws I would like to change that if you add them all up. I mean, cystic acne, honestly, I would say, oh, I'll take that over this and this and this and this. But then again, you'll say, oh, I'll take you this and this, because that's what people do. But we can't compare each other to each other. I can just say, I can put myself in the shoes and say, I would risk my life. Because my father says, he works for the FDA, well, he did, he's retired, but he worked so many years, and he's like, I don't know, he's like, I don't know how anybody could take, like, this plaque psoriasis stuff, I can't remember the name of it. It's on all the time, and it's a higher risk of cancer, and blood clot, stroke, and all that, and like, almost everything you see on TV, if you listen, it's petrifying. He's like, for a skin condition, though, that's so superficial. It's superficial only until you have it happen to you. Then all of a sudden, your quality of life sucks so bad that you don't care. You're willing to risk anything because you're not thinking. You've lost all of that, the boundaries, and no matter how scared I was getting desperate, and desperation makes people do desperate things, and they're not thinking so much about that. They're thinking more about just preserving some kind of quality of life while they're here. So, to answer the questions that people have asked me, I understand why some people will still continue to take Accutane until it's gone from the market, because probably one day it will, because it has been a miracle for other people. But no, it did nothing to do what I set out to do, which was to dry out my skin and to make my pores smaller. It didn't do any of that. It just dried my lips out for a temporary amount of time, a year and a half, 2 years about, roughly, and my eyes just never ever recovered, and it's just was not worth it at all. I'm not saying that it will happen to you, so I'm not trying to freak you out. I'm just trying to be honest, because I get this question all the time. Aside from the pregnancy questions, I get, well, was I pleased with my results? No, I'm not pleased at all. I'm miserable, and I just have to learn to carry on, and that's what we do in life. So that's my answer there. And as far as the pregnancy thing, after a month, you're fine. But if you want to wait that 3-month buffer, that's what I felt comfortable, then you can try after that, and you'll be fine. My babies are beautiful and gorgeous and healthy. And thank you for taking time out with me, Shelly. It's possible, where anything is possible if you put your mind, your body, and your soul into it. Take care.